Hello friends, welcome to day 4 of Nurturing Potentials. I, Hemali Gada, have come out this series to share some knowledge which is extremely important for you as a parent who is either expecting or has a young baby who is feeding. For you, this information will throw light on that area on which you can actually work on, and you working on that area will make a difference to your baby's development. So in today's session, I am going to talk about brain development. We are not going to go to science. Science has enormous of things about brain. But I am going to talk only those few things which are going to matter a lot when you know them. So we are going to talk about brain cells. This is a diagrammatic representation of brain cells. Brain cells, which are known as neurons, are responsible for thinking and storing memory. Now if you see this brain cell, it has got a nucleus. This nucleus does all the work of thinking, remembering and recall. But it's not that our brain is made up of one brain cell. Our brain is made up of 100 billion brain cells. And all the information that we have is being stored in scattered way in all the brain cells. Then the other part, which is called dendrites. These dendrites, they are responsible to form connections. They connect to the axons, the third part, axons of other brain cells. Now dendrites is something that we're going to work today, understand today. Dendrites are something that can grow enormously. One brain can have 1 dendrites to 1 lakh dendrites. Yes, from 1 dendrites to 1 lakh dendrites. When Einstein died, his brain was being studied. How come he is so intelligent when we are not that much? Did he have some special power? Did his brain possess something which our brain did not possess? After the dissection, one of the research says that his brain had exactly the number of brain cells that you and I and a newborn baby has. That's 100 billion brain cells. But his brain was 30% fluffier than what your and my brains are. And they were fluffier because he had much more of dendrites growth in every neuron. Now this dendrite growth is very important. Why? Because they are responsible to get connected to other neurons. Like if you've got 2 hands, you can connect one hand, this is one dendrite, this is another dendrite. You connect one dendrite with one axon only. Then how many other neurons you can connect with? 2. Now suppose instead of 2 hands, you've got say 100. In this 100 hands, how many neurons you can connect at that same particular time? 100. 50 times more. And now those 100 neurons which have been connected, if they connect to 100 other ones, then where does the figure go? As compared to 2 and then again to 2. Enormous difference, isn't it? So the most important thing that we need to focus is growing of dendrites. Growing of dendrites happens with the learning that baby takes place. Now this growing of dendrites has been done at every stage. Even for you and me, the dendrites do grow. But the speed and the intensity with which the dendrites grow is excellent at this age. And then there is a process of pruning which should be covered in other videos, which shrink up the dendrites which are not being used much. But we are not going to pruning right now. We are here again on dendrites. What we are going to focus on is the development of the dendrites. Now there's a connection. There's a connection that happens between the dendrites and the axons. Every activity that we do or every type of learning that we do, each activity, each unique activity or each unique learning has a message that passed away from one neuron to other neurons. And that message ongoingly passes. Even when I'm lifting my hand, I'm turning my face from this side to this side, there's some firing that happens in the brain, some message that's been passed. Now that message, when it has been passed, it strengthens the connection between the dendrites and the axons. Now more stronger the connection, more easy the pathway is, more smooth the pathway is. Now if you see people like who are the basketball or other sports Olympics player, they ongoingly practice. Now if they wouldn't have practiced for a week's time, it's fine, they could have played equally better. But why do they practice? Because the pathway that the brain has, where every hand would throw the ball in a direction that it goes into the basket, those pathways have to be ongoingly made stronger and stronger and stronger. And the pathways which are not strong, those are the ones who have a high risk during pruning. So the exposure that we give to our child and the repeated exposure really plays a very important role. And now I'm going to come to the other important part, or the most important part, is the nucleus. Now nucleus is something which stores memories. It does part of thinking with other nucleus. So one nucleus will send information to other nucleus, and then that nucleus will add on his or her, nucleus will add his information, and then from its information it's going ahead and so on. I know it's going to be a little tough for you if science is a difficult subject for you, but this understanding really makes enormous difference. Each nucleus stores memory in the way that if say suppose flower, then flower has some shape that's stored with some nucleus. Other nucleus would save information for other flowers or things related to flower in other areas, like what are the smell that they have, what are the ways we can use flowers for decoration, what is ikebana, which are oriental flowers, ornamental flowers, which flowers are on climbers, and so on. Every information is not stored in one nucleus. Now this is something that's not in our hands, but 100 billion brain cells have enormous capacity to save lot more things, and we hardly use that information. When we give information to a baby as young as 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, your baby at this age, this tender age, is ready to take information because 100 billion brain cells, they're going to grow. Brain is the only vessel in the world which grows when we use it. I repeat, brain is the only vessel in the universe which grows the more we use it. So it's never that our brain will be full. Never. You take in information, and our brain is ready to take more and more information. So the more information you take in, the better the ability of the brain to take in still more information. So friends, one thing that I want to tell you is, whatever you teach to your child. So when I get parents who say, Hemali, if we start dot cards at the age of 3 months and 4 months, won't it be too much heavy for our child to remember? How the child would remember those flashcards and then dot cards, and then soon we'll start word cards and equations? Friends, the baby has that ability. Their taking input, which will come on the capability to taking input which will come on the coming videos is extremely high. They can take in information 13 times and more than what you and I can take. So don't worry about that. So we come back to 100 billion brain cells, which is enormous capacity to stage, which is the enormous capacity to store enormous things. Now, the role that plays here is which nucleus stores what. Now, what is important for us to understand is that every nucleus does not store every memory, and each nucleus has unique memories, unique information stored. We are going to do a small exercise now. I'm going to give you a topic and you're going to speak loudly on that topic. You're going to speak how much soever you know without any stop. The moment you have a stop, you have a pause, it's complete. Okay? Ready? Just have your countdowns how many different topics you can speak. So the topic is apple. Apple is a fruit, and just go on. By now many of you would have got a pause. So you would come out with different things. For those who wouldn't have done an exercise or would have done, I am now telling so that you can get a reference. So apple is a fruit, it is red in color, it's sometimes green in color, it has got small seeds, there are few seeds. We can cut the slice, we can eat the apple with the flesh or without its flesh or the skin. It grows on trees, big trees, group of trees of apples called orchards, and apple a day keeps the doctor away, and you've got a break. Now the information, your sentences could be little more or little less than this, but you got a break. Now this is exactly what I want to explain you on brain functions. The part of knowledge that one brain cell had, one nucleus had, has been shared with the help of dendrites which are connected to other neurons. Now, how does this whole operation happens is when our brain gets a challenge. Say as many words, as many things as you can from apple. There would be one neuron which would say, hey, I am the one, I want to take this challenge. Let me start with it. And that neuron starts with that challenge. And when we say ready, start, what it does is it has told all the dendrites and the neighboring nucleus to be ready. I'll get the question and I want all the answers right now. Now this connections, like one nucleus and the dendrites connected to second round of nucleus, and then the neurons of those nucleus connected to third round of brain cells or the neurons. So one brain cell, one nucleus or one neuron has an information not only of that neuron but the connection in the first round, second round or maybe third round. Now this is an example. It could be 4 rounds, 5 rounds, depends on the intensity of the thinking process that one gives. Now when we saw this 3 rounds or 4 rounds, whatever the availability of neurons are there in this particular system, they are only responsible for this thinking. Now here the development of dendrites play an enormously major role. How? Now if there were more number of dendrites, even in the first circle, we would have more brain cells being connected. And then those brain cells, when they had more number of dendrites, they had an access to more neurons, more nucleus. So in conclusion, we will have more nucleus answering these questions. So if you can answer more points with one topic given, you can say that your dendrites are connected at a very good level. You have awesome dendrites. If you get less points, your dendrite network is very less. But that's about us. What we have in our hand right now is our children, our newborns. Their ability to grow the dendrites is extremely high. The neuroplasticity is the scientific term which is meant for brain to increase the ability. The neuroplasticity is extremely high when the baby is young. So friends, the whole purpose of explaining you the brain cell is that you understand that every action that you take to develop the dendrites of your brain, provide more and more learning to your brain, it will really impact at an enormous way. Your child can get lot many options in few seconds as compared to lot of thinking and getting say 100 ideas in comparison to just little thinking and getting 100 ideas. So it's on to you how you want to mold your child. Whatever way you want to mold your child is exactly the actions that you are taking right now for your baby's brain development. At lockdown period, you at home spend enormous time showing different things to your child, maybe different books, different flashcards or different communication that you can do with the child. But one thing is, whatever communication you do, it's never too much for your baby. Never. 100 billion brain cells are enormous. But at the same time, be away. Keep safe distance from gadgets with your child. Don't use gadget as a development. Why? I will tell you in next of the clips. But for today, stay home, stay safe, enjoy learning, give lot of exposures to your child and enjoy this lockdown period.